right, we are kicking off a new series of our podcast, really focusing on the mindset and the power of an athlete's mindset to help you in your day-to-day life. And today I have a very special guest. Can I call you Coach Steve? I feel like that's appropriate. That's all I know you as. Like every weekend I see you and I'm like, there's Coach Steve.
That's fine with me. Yeah, Coach Steve.
Okay. Well, for official sake, Stephen Small, and you are the program director for First Tee Hawaii. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'd love for you to just take a few minutes and tell our audience a little bit about yourself for context purposes, and then we'll jump into a bunch of good conversation about the importance of having a good mindset that helps you solve problems.
Of course. Thanks for having me again. I think you introduced me perfectly. I think I'm Coach Steve first, and I really enjoy being Coach Steve. My title is the program director for the First Tee of Hawaii, and so what that means is I help facilitate the programs. I'm a part of a nonprofit, the First Tee of Hawaii. We're a chapter of a national network, and so my role is to basically develop the program so that we provide as much opportunities for the kids that come through our program and get as many students into our program as we move through. Professionally, I started playing golf when I was about 17 years old, and I was probably about as good as most people when they first start, and that wasn't very good at all. And I got addicted. I got the bug, and I just kept on wanting to get better, and I did it.
But how did you get into, like, did someone say, Steve, try out this golf thing? Like, what was why would you even pick up some clubs?
Mostly because I had some friends that were on the golf team, and I was at a small school, and so it wasn't that difficult to get on the golf team at that small school, and just the more I played, the more I wanted to play. And I was basketball and a bench warmer at best at that. And so I kind of wanted to find something that I could find a little more success in. And I didn't at first with golf, but really got addicted to the process of getting better at golf. And I think that's one of the things that helps give me some strong assets as a coach, because I learned at that kind of early adulthood stage on how to get better. All that fundamental stuff is fresh, and then all the failures of trying to figure that out is fairly fresh as well. So I went right in from learning to playing in tournaments and doing pretty poorly overall at that, and so golf has just been something that has been really tough and really helped me, I don't know, find a lot of passion. It's just a fun sport to be a part of. So
yeah, very cool. So back then compared to now, like thinking about your like, what do you love about golf then versus now? Like, has that changed? Is it the same things?
Yeah, there's a lot what I loved about it then was just being outside and just I'm a grinder, I'm a hustler. I love working hard. It's just something that is just in me. And so golf, there's always an opportunity to get a little bit better, and I wanted to win, and I was bad. So there was lots of opportunity to get there. And I would say a lot of that is the same now. I would say probably that's change in the mindset as far as coaching, especially as I get the opportunity to help other people get better at golf, is how to do that smarter. I think that's what golf has taught me in life as well, is a clock, right? Clocking in, clock out doesn't necessarily equal the results, but
exactly.
Having intentional feedback and processes so you can get better quicker. Playing the game of golf is fun. I try and encourage, and this is what's fun about it now, is it's almost like a video game on the golf course. Is the better your skills are, the more you have that controller, and the more you can really just, the golf course is kind of your imagination to go crazy and see how good you can do. And it's really fun to take my son out. He's at the time where now he can hit the ball, and so he can keep score, and so that's cool. My thing that I'm working towards is I really just want a buddy to go play golf.
The end goal. How often do you play, like on your own without the kids? Because I know you do a lot with
not
the youth.
Too much.
Yeah.
No, not at all. But what's fun is as the First Tee grows, we start at age 5, and then we go through high school, and so our teenage and a little bit higher skill level classes are growing, and so all those students kind of start at the younger levels and they're there. So I get to compete against them a little bit more now, cool. And it's fun to do that with them. So I would say 2 classes a week. I have a club in my hand and I'm competing at some level.
Yeah,
so.
That's cool. Well, the reason I asked you that question about the before and after, like I took golf when I was really little. I was probably 5 and 6, so I took it for a couple years, then dropped it completely, and then played very infrequently as an adult, and then more recently started to pick it up. So I've been playing a little bit more, and I feel like as a small child, I don't think I really was thinking about what I liked and didn't like, and then now with the hectic life of being an entrepreneur and being a business owner and just the day-to-day of everything that life throws at you, golf is such a great sport for just that moment of complete focus, right? Like you are focusing on one thing, not 50 other things, which is what the day is, right? Of life. And the other thing I really value as a company for us is this team concept. And I feel like the value of working together as a team is something really important, but people don't really think of golf as sort of a team sort of sport. What do you think are all the values? I mean, I know first he has all the cool words of the day, which I love. But what do you think are those values that translate? And, because team for me is a big one, but in golf it might be, I don't know, what are your perspectives?
Yeah, I would say golf is kind of unique in that perspective that you don't really have that team environment. But I would say where I would kind of combat myself on that statement is you have an opportunity to network a ton, and so I would say the advantage, or maybe not teamwork, but you really have to be comfortable with yourself on the golf course, because there are tons of opportunity to network, but you have to be, like you said, focused on that one opportunity that you have for whatever shot you have ahead of you, and the more you're prepared for yourself personally, the more you can network and kind of enjoy it. It's kind of like a good test to see where you are personally.
True.
And it's a really great opportunity to kind of overcome that failure, and still kind of have fun, right? And that's I would say what most golfers, and I'm sure you could answer this as well, is what they share is failure and frustration.
Yep.
But also the joy and that camaraderie to your teamwork and kind of overcoming, getting it over the water, or whatever that difficult shot is, or maybe if you hit it right, having to hit it left, whatever that is. I think that even if someone that you met on the first tee, if you hit the most amazing shot of your life, they're the best friend with you. And I think that golf is unique in that individual sport side, that everyone's kind of in it together, because it's all hard.
Yeah, it is hard. You feel each other's pain. You're like, that was done that a few times when someone messes up, but yeah, for real. Thinking about the athlete's mindset, have you had a moment as an athlete maybe where you've ever felt like, when you played competitive in high school, or any example, I guess, can you tell us if you ever had a moment where you're like, I'm not sure I can get through this, or you're feeling really challenged or just frustrated, or, whatever? What did you do? Like, what was going on in your mind, and then like, how did you deal with it?
Yeah, I think the most tangible example is that, if you were to watch me on the range now and in college, you'd say, you're a good golfer, can hit the ball okay. But the mental side of scoring or putting a score in the scorecard was just something that I really struggled with in college. And so I remember the first tournament that I broke 80 in college. It was, I don't know if you've seen Tin Cup. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the caddy says, put your change in your pocket and everything. That was me on the driving range. I mean, shank, miss, shank. And that was a tournament that I went on to have, my first round where I broke 80 in a tournament. And so I think what I learned in that environment is what you have is what you have. And I think as golfers, and probably in business as well, there's this strive for unreachable perfection, but really you got to perform with the best of what you got. And I think golf and playing at a competitive level, still learning. I have the same challenge, but I think that particular, just like knowing that I didn't have my best game and I had my best score, was really an eye-opening experience for me.
That's cool. I love that. And I love the always be learning. That's actually one of our values is you never stop. Like the game, everything you do, whether it's sport or anything, learning a technical skill in our case, it's always be learning. You never can really reach the end, the state of perfection that doesn't actually exist. So keep going. So tell us how you got plugged into First Tee. I'd love to hear, you told us a little bit about your background ahead of time. I'd love to kind of dive into that and for you to give our audience the story.
Yeah, of course. So kind of from a teaching background in my family of teachers. So just kind of ingrained in who I am, that side. Couple coach friends experience while I was playing in college and just kind of first couple professions. And then I was looking for a way to get back, and I saw the First Tee as an opportunity, and so I started volunteering and coaching, and I loved it. Had an absolute blast, and just kind of got more and more involved on that side of it. And so I think how I got involved from the First Tee I was in there is the First Tee kind of went through a transition period here in Hawaii, and I got asked to kind of help get the program up going again. And so that was a cool opportunity for me to kind of capitalize myself with a career switch, but more importantly, something that I had a blast doing. So
that's cool. And you had a whole career before even jumping into that.
I did, yeah. The last thing that I did before I became a golf coach is I got Island Air their IOSA certification, which is a big safety audit, international. It was a lot of work and it was a lot of fun, and I had a lot of great teammates that helped me get it and get there. But being out on the golf course for 8 hours a day and telling safety of your golf clubs, as you're familiar with the 5, 6, and 7-year-old class. It was a little more enjoyable when I went home at the end of the day. So
that makes sense. Is there an inspiring story you can share about First Tee and the impact that it's had on just any youth examples? I mean, how long have you been doing it now?
Probably a little over 5 years, starting as a volunteer. The First Tee of Hawaii is coming up into its 4th year since we've been going. 2 stories come to mind immediately is because we're all about access and fun, we bring students at any price point that they can afford to be in the program, but also any skill level. And it's really about building community around learning how to play golf. And so as we talked about, there's a big spectrum there. And so one of the students that started back when I was a volunteer, Coach Haruki, really wasn't that good at golf when he started, but he loved it. Just so passionate about it, any opportunity, just so hungry to learn more. And when he was about 16, if you heard him say, as a golf coach, that he wanted to play college golf, you would have thought a lot of things would need to change in his skill level to get there. But the kid has worked his butt off and tried to get every opportunity he can, and today he's playing college golf in Ohio. And he talks about mentorship of the First Tee program, and then he worked with Scott Simpson, who is a local coach here, who is also a U.S. Open champion and really a big supporter of the First Tee. And so I know that without the First Tee program and really the community that he had to kind of fan the fire for his passion, I don't know, maybe it would have happened, maybe it wouldn't happen, but it's cool to see him there and really him develop as a man.
It's very cool.
He was and still is, a very goofy kid, but golf has really helped kind of shape him to kind of where he is now, and so stoked to see him playing college golf.
That is amazing.
Yeah, really, really cool. And then we have another participant in the program that just played in the Pure Insurance Open at Pebble Beach. She's an incredible golfer.
I saw that on your social.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate enough to work along. She volunteered coaches, and so I was able to caddy for her for for one tournament. And we've been on the golf course a lot, and herself as a leader has really developed. But our golf game is the top, and so she got to experience what being a superstar is through the opportunities from the First Tee. And it was so cool that the small role that I have in helping the program be here gave her that opportunity, because I know for a fact that that's something that she's going to remember for the rest of her life. So
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Do you have, I mean, you build good relationships with all the parents and the students. Do you see anything like the impact that golf has, maybe first tee, but indirectly golf has for people off the course, like young people off the course?
Yeah, I think a lot of things. The tangible thing, I mean, for fundraising and also the importance of our program is very few athletic programs get the students away from wherever for like 4 hours at a time, right? And so golf is a long activity where you're focused on doing something other than getting in trouble. So at a macro level, incredible opportunity for students to get involved in golf for that reason. But I would say at a more personal level, it's been really fun to see yourself, families get into golf, and for the students, sports in general, any sport I love because failing is so important. And the more they learn how to deal with the emotions and basically stepping out of failure, I think the better people that they're going to be. And I really take that responsibility. I take that as a big responsibility of the program and being a sports coach. But seeing families get into golf is so cool. Basketball, I told you I was a real good bench warmer. But I was the youngest in my family, and so by the time I was playing basketball, my dad might pass it to me to shoot a little bit, and we had fun. You know, we shot around, but you know, it wasn't as young as he used to be, and so I think the coolest thing for me to see is multi-generation families spend hours of time together, and have that competitive environment. That's not like struggling. What did you do in school? No, it's like, did you get a par? And then, and then from there, like really meaningful stuff can happen. And so I don't know what it looks like for each family, but I know that golf provides that opportunity that no other sport really can.
I agree. Yeah.
So
how do you, I mean, it's gotten so popular too, right, during the pandemic. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly awesome. I think the other thing that really sparked during the pandemic is, I mean, over the last years, golf technology has gone through the roof. I mean, as a golf instructor and just as a golf consumer, there's so many tools that have been developed, and then the pandemic helped a lot of people realize what those were. So whether that's remote coaching or whether that's I'm one of them. I'm guilty. I have a mock golf simulator at my house. I wouldn't really call it that, but so many people and so many families in the first tee created some sort of practice environment at home to be able to do something. And I think it really helped a lot of people own their golf game.
Yeah.
On the first tee side, challenging because our role is to provide access, and it's not at a high price point. And so really just lucky that our course partners really blocked us in and kept us there, where they had reduced capacity overall and demand was high. And so, I mean, places like here on Oahu with Alawai and Bayview and Roikuni and Hawakale, they still allowed us to be out there and the kids to be out there when they could have been collecting a little bit more money. And so really cool that the golf community here in Hawaii was able to do that, and really fun to be able to provide. We saw a lot of sports, kids that were involved in sports, not in golf, through this pandemic come into golf, and so that was also a really fun opportunity.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, people weren't really thinking about it as much, but certainly now everyone is, and you're right, the technology's changed too. So I'm doing my golf tech lessons again. So I started that back up a few weeks ago, and so I'm heading there. But the technology's even changed where they don't strap you in anymore. They have like a thing where they can just still, give you all those all those pointers without strapping you in. So it's pretty cool.
Do they have the sensors on?
They used to before the pandemic, but they updated the technology where now they just video. You have to be like in a certain place and they video you, and it still like kind of checks your, if you're swinging on plane and like all that stuff. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
It's kind of nerdy, but it's cool.
No, it's really cool. As a golf coach, it's helpful. Not everyone. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, it came this week. They launched something for golf coaches to basically do that, but it makes a 3D avatar and gives you measurement points, just like how you used to have. I mean, I did it in college. It takes like 15 minutes to put all the sensors on to be able to do it. But I mean, I could take a video and it's really cool where technology is going to help. And that's if you watch the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour and all these tours, like high level golf is like so good now. Like everyone is just so incredible, and I think a lot of it is because the players that want to get that good, they have so many tools to be able to get that.
For sure. So what's your vision for First Tee Hawaii?
My vision for the First Tee of Hawaii is to be the place for fun. I mean, I think that the community that the First Tee of Hawaii has built so far, I want to double down across every island. And so we've started that. So we have programs in Kauai and Maui and pretty soon the Big Island now. But that opportunity that MIA, the Pure Insurance Open, I want that to be something that is a very competitive process. And why I want that to be a competitive process to get the opportunities that are available with the First Tee is because it's not just golf that got Mia that opportunity. Is she presented herself as a valuable member of the community and how she's impacting the community around her, and she has a killer golf game. And so I think if the First Tee of Hawaii can keep growing this large number of students in the program and a culture to make high-level golf something that you can get to if you want to, but really who you are when you come off the course. I think that, I mean, just tangible example, right? Like all kinds of things happen through the pandemic. My catalytic converter got stolen from my car, right? All kinds of things happen, and I think that the First Tee program can combat that and help bring a tremendous amount of youth in the community and workforce and golfers. So.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I love the First Tee program with the word of the day and the different things and how words like honesty, because I like when you're like, there's no referee on the golf course to make sure you're keeping score correctly. It's on you. And I think that kind of those lessons that you learn that obviously apply to the sport, now you can translate that so much for youth. I mean, youth need that kind of coaching, and it's so tangible, it's so relatable, and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense in the game. That can make sense in my life. And you guys always are good about, what does this mean? Does this mean like, what's one of them where you guys are like, you're responsible for picking up your own clothes and taking care of your clubs, and what does responsibility mean? And all those great values that the game of golf teaches will absolutely have an impact here in Hawaii for those students that participate in the program. So I love what you do. Keep it up. So my last question is, what would you say is the biggest life lesson or even a business lesson? I know you had a career before this and now you're basically, a leader, a business leader. But what has been the biggest life or business lesson that being an athlete has taught you?
I'm going to hone in on the honesty part of the First Tee, and I think it's a tee up for why it's important for youth to understand that. But I think taking an honest assessment of where you are so you can get to where you are next. I think oftentimes, when I grew up in my career, school was a lot more accessible, like it was technology age, right? And so just getting stuff done and just having a title at the end, that was kind of like a way to go about it. But with golf and then in career, like really honing your skill and honestly knowing where it is so that you can have as much success as possible, so that you can keep growing. And it's okay to say that I got a bogey, or no, I don't know that. I'm not sure, and I want to do this really well. And learning, like you said, I think that golf and my career now has taught me that. And I think it's really important as an athlete and as a professional to really test your skills and be honest with where they are. And that it doesn't mean that it's over.
Yep.
But you got to know where you are so you can get to where you want to go. So
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I tell the guys very similarly. Like in my past career, I've definitely had moments where I've maybe taken lesser of a title or taken something else because I knew I wanted to grow in another area. And I like that because I don't know if I was internalizing it the same way that you just described. So perfect. Love it. Well, Coach Steve, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I guess I'll see you on the range at some point.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Okay,
A lot of
cool.
fun.
Yeah, thank you.